Imagine buying a brand new car, and within a year, the manufacturer quietly walks back some of its core design decisions. Not upgrades, reversals, features removed, then suddenly reintroduced. Because what was once presented as progress is now being reconsidered as a potential risk. From an American buyer's standpoint, that raises a different kind of question. Not what's new, but what should never have changed in the first place. Because in Europe, this correction is already underway, and it's accelerating. For years, drivers who questioned touchscreen-heavy interiors were dismissed. Complaints about missing buttons, seen as resistance to innovation. Concerns about usability be largely ignored. But by 2026, the situation begins to shift. Sales slow, customer feedback turns more critical, and safety organizations begin adjusting their evaluation criteria. Manufacturers are no longer just leading design trends, they are reacting to them. Quietly reversing decisions that once defined modern vehicle interiors, and each reversal reveals something deeper. These weren't just aesthetic changes, they directly affected how people interact with their cars. In Europe, organizations like Euro NCAP are beginning to place greater emphasis on physical controls for critical functions in their safety assessments. Turn signals, hazard lights, wipers, emergency systems. If these are hidden in touchscreen menus, vehicles may receive lower scores. And that matters, because many buyers use these ratings as part of their purchase decision. Manufacturers are responding. Volkswagen, for example, has acknowledged customer feedback and is reintroducing physical controls in upcoming models. Because usability concerns became difficult to ignore. Tests by Swedish automotive media suggest a clear pattern. An older vehicle with physical controls can complete simple tasks significantly faster than a modern touchscreen-based vehicle. In one comparison between a Volvo 570 and a European market EV like the MG Marvel R, task completion times differed substantially. At highway speeds, that delay can translate into covering close to a mile with reduced attention. From an American perspective, this is not yet strongly enforced, but the underlying issue remains the same: driver distraction, and that makes it relevant beyond Europe. For years, many European vehicles moved away from spare tires. Instead, drivers received repair kits or run-flat tires. The reasoning was straightforward: lower weight, improved efficiency, reduced manufacturing cost. But in real-world use, these solutions have limitations. Repair kits can permanently damage tires. Run-flat tires often cost between $270 and $380 per tire, compared to roughly $110 to $150 for standard tires. And neither is always effective in the case of a serious blowout. Now, some manufacturers are reintroducing optional spare tires, not universally, but selectively, because the alternative, being stranded, creates a different kind of ownership risk. In the United States, many buyers never fully accepted the removal, especially in rural or long-distance driving scenarios. That difference reflects how customer expectations can slow or prevent certain industry shifts. For decades, climate control followed a simple logic: physical knobs, immediate response, minimal distraction. Then came the shift toward touchscreen-based systems, cleaner design, fewer components, lower production complexity. But usability declined. Drivers had to look away from the road. Menus replaced instinctive control. Now, several manufacturers are reversing course. Hyundai and Porsche, among others, are reintroducing physical controls alongside digital interfaces. Because the trade-off became clear. Reduced hardware complexity came at the cost of increased driver distraction. In the US, adoption has been more gradual, but the pattern is similar, and the correction may follow. This change was less visible, but more structural. A simple mechanical dipstick was replaced in some vehicles by electronic oil level sensors. On paper, this simplified the user experience. In practice, it removed a layer of verification. Drivers could no longer directly confirm oil levels. They had to rely entirely on electronic readings. These systems operate under high temperatures and contamination, and while generally reliable, they are not immune to inaccuracies. Some manufacturers, including BMW and Select Engines, have quietly reintroduced dipsticks, not as a headline feature, but as a fallback. From an American standpoint, this highlights a broader tension: convenience versus control. Digital systems reduce friction, but they can also reduce transparency. In Europe, emissions regulations encouraged the shift towards smaller, turbocharged engines. Downsizing became standard: smaller displacement, higher boost, greater efficiency under test conditions. But real-world results have been more mixed. Some drivers report higher complexity and long-term maintenance considerations. In response, certain manufacturers continue to invest in naturally aspirated engines. Mazda and Toyota are notable examples. These engines offer simpler construction and predictable performance. In the United States, this transition has been less aggressive. Larger engines remain more common. That difference reflects regulatory structure. In Europe, policy strongly influences engineering direction. In the US, market demand still plays a larger role, but that balance is evolving. The electronic parking brake was introduced as a convenience feature. A button replaces a lever. Cleaner interior design, automated operation. But it changes the ownership experience. A traditional mechanical handbrake offers direct manual control. Electronic systems rely on actuators and software. They also increase service complexity. In some cases, even routine brake maintenance requires diagnostic tools. This creates dependency on specialized equipment. In Europe, cost-sensitive segments continue to value simpler mechanical solutions. In the United States, adoption of electronic systems continues. But the trade-offs are becoming more visible over time. Some manufacturers experimented with subscription-based features, charging recurring fees for functions already installed in the vehicle. Heated seats, convenience features, software-enabled options. The response was immediate. Customer resistance was strong. Several manufacturers, including BMW, adjusted their approach after negative feedback. More features are now being bundled into standard equipment again, because the market signaled clear limits. This is one of the few trends where European and American buyers responded similarly. In recent years, some vehicles reduced or removed dedicated fog lights, replacing them with integrated lighting systems or design elements. Modern LED headlights have improved significantly, but in certain conditions, dense fog, heavy snow, low-mounted fog lights can still provide advantages. They illuminate beneath the fog layer. They reduce glare. Some manufacturers are reintroducing them or improving their integration because functionality remains relevant outside ideal conditions. This is the most structural development. In Europe, regulation is increasingly pushing manufacturers toward greater transparency in diagnostics and repair access. The goal is to improve long-term usability and reduce dependency on authorized service networks. From an American perspective, this conversation is ongoing. Right to repair laws exist in some states, but not uniformly, and the long-term outcome remains uncertain, but the direction is similar, because the underlying issue is the same. What does ownership actually mean if you cannot repair the product, if you cannot inspect its condition, if access is restricted by design? That definition changes. Across all these examples, a consistent pattern appears. The industry moved toward digitization, cost efficiency, and minimalism. But in doing so, it removed layers of control and usability. Now, under pressure from customers, data, and regulation, that trend is being adjusted. Not reversed completely, but corrected. From an American buyer's standpoint, the key question is not whether these changes matter. It is how they will translate into the US market. And this is where it becomes uncomfortable. Because none of these changes happened by accident. They were calculated decisions, cost-driven, policy-driven, sometimes even convenience-driven for the manufacturer, not the driver. The real question is no longer what features are coming back, it's how far the industry is willing to go before buyers push back hard enough. From an American standpoint, that resistance still exists. But for how long? Because once control is removed, it rarely comes back without a fight. So now I'm curious, would you accept more restrictions in exchange for newer technology? Or do you think the line has already been crossed? Write your opinion in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, focused on what actually impacts ownership, consider subscribing.